Hello, and welcome to AFSPA Live, our monthly digital broadcast designed to give AFSPA members and eligible federal employees a place to ask questions and get answers about past AFSPA Talks topics, their benefits, and wellness needs. You can ask your question through the chat box on whichever social media platform you're streaming AFSPA Live, YouTube, Facebook, or LinkedIn. If you're not able to join us live, call our toll-free line prior to the broadcast at 888-435-0757 and leave our team a voice message that we may play back and answer live on air. Just tell us who you are and the question you'd like us to answer. I'll see you at the next AFSPA Live.
Hi, everyone. Welcome to AFSPA Live, a live video broadcast Q&A session that we stream every last Thursday of the month at 11 a.m. Eastern Time. My name is Maddie Norton. I'm a Senior Communications Coordinator at AFSPA, and I'll be moderating the show today. We are discussing menopause for this month's AFSPA Live. And joining us today from Maven Clinic is Sharday Jackson. She is a Senior Client Success Manager at Maven. And as always, we have AFSPA CEO with us, Kyle Longton. How's everybody doing today?
Doing well.
Happy October.
Sharday, thanks for joining us.
Yeah, excited to be here. Thank you so much for having us join the conversation today.
Of course. And before we dive into some of the menopause questions we got, I do want to address a question that we got before the stream from a member on YouTube, and they asked, "Good morning. What options do I have as a federal employee if furlough extends to November and I need to enroll a family member?"
Yeah, this is a great question. This is a little bit different than some other questions we've gotten about open season and so forth, and we can talk about both of those. And I just want to say that you should still be able, when you experience a qualifying life event. I'm reading from the OPM guide on shutdown furloughs, and we can. Yep, we've got the information right there, a link there. There's also a link from our website, and it basically says, can an employee who has been furloughed enroll or make changes to their FEHB enrollment during a furlough due to lapse in appropriations? And the answer is yes. So if you've been furloughed and you're experiencing a qualifying life event, such as additional family member through marriage, adoption, birth of a child, etc., you can enroll and make changes to enrollment in the FEHB program. This same also applies to open season. And then the official guidance does encourage everybody to contact your HR office to make sure you're following the appropriate process. And we are continuing to see information come in from HR offices and changes in enrollment and so forth. So I know some of those folks are working. Things may be taking a little bit longer right now. And then, of course, open season is less than 2 weeks away. It's start at least. And we hope that if you're with us, you stick with us. If you're not an FSPP member, you take a look at us for next year. But we'll be doing a lot of events throughout November and into December about open season. And you should still be able to make those changes. That may be more complicated if you don't have access to your government systems right now, but we'll get some more guidance on that as things move on. Hopefully that won't be an issue by the time open season starts.
Absolutely. And if you're looking to check out our open season webpage, just to see plan updates and benefits, definitely check that out. It's afspa.org/open season. And we are going to jump into menopause. Sharday, thank you for being here. We'll start with an easy question, maybe for you. What is menopause?
Great question. And before I do start with just kind of the conversation today, I do just want to share to everyone watching, I will be speaking on behalf of our amazing network of Maven providers, so the OBGYNs, menopause specialists, mental health professionals, and coaches who support our members every day. And so while I'm not a provider myself, I have received insights and just information based on our clinical experts on what they recommend. So again, just wanted to make sure I clear that up first. But the first question, so what is menopause? A great place to start. And menopause is a completely natural biological transition where it simply marks the end of a person's reproductive years. So it's officially defined as going 12 months without a period. The average age is around 51, though that can happen a little earlier or later depending on things like genetics, lifestyle, or certain health factors.
Perfect. And I know that we've gotten questions about perimenopause and different stages. So if you could explain to us, what are the stages of menopause?
Yes, so menopause does happen in stages, and they can actually stretch out over several years. So the first stage is perimenopause, and that's really the transition phase, and that's when hormones start to fluctuate and symptoms can begin, like irregular periods, hot flashes, or mood shifts that can also show up as well. Then comes menopause itself. So again, that's when you've gone a full year without having a menstrual cycle. And then after that is postmenopause. And so that's when hormone levels stay low and steady. And then some symptoms may ease, but that's also when things like bone and heart health become even more important to watch out for.
Gotcha. Good to know. And I know you mentioned some symptoms like hot flashes, mood changes, things like that. What are the most common symptoms of menopause?
Yeah, so what you just mentioned are definitely the most common ones that we hear. But there's also like sleep disturbances, vaginal dryness, night sweats, changes in libido, even joint aches or brain fog. And so some symptoms can be mild, while others can feel a bit overwhelming and disruptive to your daily life. But one thing that we really just want to acknowledge is that menopause is a completely natural life stage. Every woman, if they live long enough, will go through perimenopause and menopause. And just because it's natural doesn't mean that you should have to suffer. For decades, many people were told simply to just push through, or symptoms were just a part of getting older. But now we know better, and we have safe and effective treatments that can help you feel like yourself again and improve your quality of life. So there's no need to suffer in silence.
Perfect. And I think that's super important. And it's why we're talking about it today. We're going to answer some questions from members. So, Kyle, this is one for you.
All right.
If my menopause symptoms are bad enough, is thorough hormone testing covered by FSBP?
It's a great question. And so I don't want to get directly into hormone testing. That the question of what is necessary is definitely one conversation to have with your doctor, right?
Sure.
But what I can tell you is that FSBP does specifically cover office consultations and non-compound hormone treatment for menopause and perimenopause. So that is covered under the Foreign Service Benefit Plan. We cover it as we do other outpatient services. So subject to the calendar year deductible, in-network or overseas providers, we cover at 90%, and out-of-network providers, we cover at 70%, members responsible for the balance there. But I can also tell you that one of the reasons we have Maven, we have Sade here and have been talking about Maven, did a podcast with Sade earlier this month, is because there's a great support program available for perimenopause and menopause through Maven. And even though the providers on that platform are not prescribing medication, they can help you understand what the symptoms mean, what conversations you may want to have with your doctor, and so forth. So yes, we do cover hormone replacement therapy when medically necessary and when prescribed by a licensed provider. So first step is absolutely to have that conversation with your doctor.
Perfect. All right.
And also, I'm sorry, I just want to say, doesn't necessarily have to be bad enough. I really appreciate what Sade said. You don't have to suffer. You don't have to reach a certain level of suffering. It can be that you're experiencing symptoms and they may be mild, moderate, or severe. But again, have that conversation with your doctor. Turn to Maven for support to understand what the next steps might be, what other options you may have. But you don't have to wait until you're suffering before you have that conversation or seek treatment.
Absolutely. And I know we got a question about one of the symptoms. A member asked, or they're saying, I'm experiencing hair loss due to menopause. Would the Foreign Service Benefit Plan cover treatment for that?
So that's a great question, and I'm going to hedge a little bit on my answer and not say yes or no. And I think that some of this would be related to what the doctor prescribes in terms of treatment. So if the doctor says, look, hormone replacement therapy is the right answer, could help stop hair loss, then that would be part of the treatment. If we're talking about hair growth solutions or something along those lines, those are less likely to be covered. And again, that's me hedging a little bit because I've not run into this, but I think if we're talking about hormone replacement therapy as a addressing the underlying cause, then that is absolutely one of the treatments that is covered when prescribed by a licensed provider.
Gotcha. All right. Back to you, Sade. Are there treatments for menopause? I know Kyle's touched a little bit on it, but if so, what are the possible treatments out there?
Yeah, so there's not a single treatment for menopause itself. I think, it really depends on the symptoms that you may experience. And then, of course, also your health and even your preferences. But there are many ways to find relief and feel better. So lifestyle changes are a great starting point. So things like keeping consistent sleep routine, staying active, eating a balanced diet, and managing stress can really go a long way. Nutrition is also especially important. So focusing on whole foods and staying hydrated and getting enough calcium and vitamin D, that can help support energy and bone health. Movement is key too. So regular exercise, strength training, or yoga can also ease symptoms. It can also lift your mood and improve your sleep. Like mind-body practices, similar to like meditation or breathing exercises, can also help manage hot flashes and anxiety. And then for some people, like Hal just mentioned, medical options can definitely be a part of the picture. Hormone replacement therapy can be very effective for relieving hot flashes, night sweats, and vaginal dryness by restoring some of the hormones your body produces less of during menopause.
All right. Next question is going to be for Kyle.
Sure.
This says, is bioidentical hormone therapy better than conventional hormone therapy? And if I start my hormone treatment, will my menstrual cycle begin again?
Those are all great questions and questions that I am not qualified to answer. These are definitely questions to discuss with your prescriber to understand sort of what the best options are when it comes to either hormone, or there are non-hormone therapy treatments that are available. One was just announced recently. It's being approved by the FDA. And then also what the potential, I hesitate to use side effects, but we'll use that here, may be once you start and for how long you continue hormone therapy, hormone replacement therapy. So those are great questions to have with your doctor. Maven providers may be able to provide support to understand as you're experiencing any side effects, or as you're considering your options, to understand what the effects may be. So great question for your provider, not for us here today, unfortunately.
All right. And we got a lot of questions about hormone pellet therapy. And they were asking, does FSBP cover that?
Great question. And what I would say is, and on any of the specific drugs that we're exploring, that you have questions about, you can check our drug pricing tool to see what's covered, how it's covered. Often that will tell you if a prior authorization is required. So that's at never mind. We're gonna make it even simpler. AFSPA.org/prescriptions. You'll find a link there to our pricing tool, and we'll also let you know, for instance, if you need to obtain it through home delivery, if the particular medication is considered a specialty drug, it does have to come through the Accredos pharmacy. If it's not, then you may be able to get it at a local retail pharmacy. If it's a maintenance drug, for instance, something you're going to be taking on an ongoing basis, which may be the case with hormone therapies, you will want to make sure you're getting those either through home delivery or from a Smart 90 pharmacy. Again, those are for non-specialty drugs. So you can check that out, see what the pricing is, and also look at alternatives. There's a link at the top when you search for drugs about alternatives that may be available. So, for instance, if your doctor prescribes a brand name drug or therapy, there may be generics that are available that you could use.
Gotcha. All right. And then back to Sade, we got a question. We got a couple of questions like this. Do certain medical conditions interfere with one starting hormone replacement therapy? And does age impact the effectiveness of HRT?
Great question. In general, hormone replacement therapy, it tends to be the most effective and safest when it's started earlier in the menopause transition. So ideally within about 10 years of your first menstrual period or before the age of 60. And that's just because during that window, the benefits like reducing hot flashes, improving sleep, that we just mentioned, they often outweigh the potential risk. So that said, age alone doesn't, rule someone out. Some people start HRT later and they can still find relief, but it really just depends on the overall like health profile of you as an individual. And so, similar to what Kyle was saying, that's why it's really best to have that individualized discussion with the provider who understands menopause. And then there are certain health conditions where HRT may not be recommended. So, for example, if someone has like a history of breast cancer, blood clot, stroke, or certain health or liver diseases, in those cases, providers might explore other options, such as non-hormonal medications or lifestyle strategies to manage symptoms. So there's not really like an age impact, and more about your personal health picture. And a provider will be able to help weigh the benefits and risk and decide whether HRT or another approach is the safest and most effective choice for you.
Gotcha. All right. We did get a question from our chat, so I'm going to ask it to Kyle.
Sure.
Carrie has asked, why are my estrogen patches 5 to 10 times more costly than any of my other prescriptions?
Okay. Carrie, thank you very much for this question. And I will once again refer to the pricing tool. It could be that your other prescriptions, there's a couple of scenarios. It could be that your other prescriptions are generics and the estrogen patch is a brand name drug. And it could also be that the estrogen patch that has been prescribed is a non-preferred brand name drug. Which means that it's a higher out-of-pocket cost for you. So there may be alternatives available that would be less costly, and that pricing tool should give you some options to consider to lower that. I will also offer up that you can send us an email, and one of our a member of our team can look into that and help you identify any alternatives to discuss with your doctor. We are again. We're not going to push you to that necessarily unless it's an excluded drug, which it sounds like it's not. But there may be alternatives that could be less costly in terms of your out-of-pocket cost.
For sure. And definitely use that tool just to double check to see if, some medications, like Kyle said, are, less expensive. And, if your doctor recommends one medication, use that tool. See if there's another one out there that may be similar or just less costly, because we know that prescriptions are high these days, and that can definitely affect your life. All right, so back to Sade. We got a question about bone density. Does menopause affect bone density?
It can, yes. So estrogen plays a really big role in protecting bone strength. So when estrogen levels drop during menopause, bones can lose density a bit more quickly. And so that's why there's so much recommendation for like regular exercise, especially weight bearing movement. Also along with like calcium, vitamin D, and sometimes medication or supplements to support your bone health. It's really just one of those long-term things that's good to stay on top of early.
Good to know. And then obviously a question, do I still need to attend annual checkups with my OBGYN after I go through menopause?
Yes, absolutely. So even after your periods stop, those annual check-ins are still really important. Your provider can help monitor things like your bone health, heart health, blood pressure, and just your overall well-being. And then they're also there to help manage any lingering menopause symptoms you might still be experiencing. So like the dryness, changes in libido, or sleep issues. Really, in regards to just your overall health, not even menopause specifically, it's really just about staying proactive and not reactive as things come up.
Absolutely. And I'm glad that we answered that, because it is still very important to go and get your annual pap smear and, mammograms, things like that. Definitely go and still do that no matter where you are in life. Those are very important. So next question is, are there any long-term health concerns related to menopause?
So again, menopause is natural, but the lower estrogen levels can definitely impact a few areas of long-term health. We've been talking about like bone density, but heart health, that's also another, concern in the future. Both can shift after menopause. Some people also notice changes in cholesterol, metabolism, or joint health. And the good thing is that there's a lot that you can do to stay healthy, from not only just nutrition, exercise, but the preventive screenings that Maddie just mentioned, and of course support from your care team.
Good to know. And we got a question about, as I get closer to menopause, will my period/symptoms get worse?
Yeah, so during perimenopause, specifically that stage, symptoms can come and go. And yes, sometimes they can feel a bit stronger as hormones fluctuate. And then, periods can become heavier or less predictable, and hot flashes or mood changes will then pop up unexpectedly. It could feel like a roller coaster, but that is completely natural. And the great thing is that it is temporary. So the good news is there's a lot of ways to manage those symptoms. You don't just have to write it out. But yes, depending on, every individual person, your symptoms can potentially get a little worse.
Good to know. And I know you mentioned that the average age for menopause to start usually is 51. And, should anyone be worried if menopause hasn't happened to them yet by the age of 51, especially if they're past the average age of going through it?
Not necessarily. So the average age is 51, but there is a wide range, right? It's really anywhere from your mid 40s to mid 50s. That would be considered completely normal. And some people just naturally go through it later, right? So if you are over the age of 55, and still having regular cycles, it's probably best to mention it to your provider. But in most cases, it's just your body's own timeline.
Gotcha. Everybody is unique and their own individual. So definitely, I hope that puts that person's mind at ease.
Yep. And I'll just say that that's a great reason to continue having those annual visits with your primary care provider and your OBGYN to just make sure you're staying up to date on your health and any symptoms you may be having of perimenopause, menopause, or anything else, to just make sure you're establishing that relationship and have a provider to reach out to when something happens.
Absolutely. And are there any lifestyle changes or choices, I should say, choices that can cause menopause to come early or to come later in their life?
So certain lifestyle and health factors can definitely influence when menopause starts. Smoking, for example, can cause menopause to happen a bit earlier, while things like genetic stress, body weight, or certain medical treatments can also play a role. I will say, talking with our providers, I've learned that there's no guaranteed way to delay menopause. But healthy habits like regular exercise and balanced nutrition can support your hormones, and overall well-being, where, the idea is that it would come within that time range that we just mentioned.
Good. And then obviously we talked a bit about how menopause can affect your mental health. And in what ways can that happen? I know you mentioned like mood shifts and things like that. And then Kyle, this is a question for you at the end of it. What can I do to benefit my mental health?
All right.
Yeah. Do you want me to start?
Sade first.
Yes.
Yeah.
So menopause can have a big impact on mental health. And I don't think that's something that is talked about a lot, enough at least. And so, the hormonal changes during this time can affect mood and emotional well-being, leading to things like anxiety, irritability, or low energy. And then I think also when you combine that with other life changes that often happen around the same time, like career shifts or caregiving or aging parents, it could really feel like a lot, and really overwhelming. But there's a lot of things that can help. Mind-body practices are incredibly powerful for easing both physical but also emotional symptoms. Yoga, for example, that combines movement and relaxation, which can also reduce stress. There's meditation and simple breathing techniques. That's also really great tools to calm the nervous system. And then, of course, support, I think, makes a huge difference. Specifically, I know Kyle's going to talk about other benefits available, but at Maven, you as an individual can connect with mental health providers and coaches who specialize in menopause. So you can really receive just like that compassionate, personalized care for not only just your body, but also your mind as well.
Right. And I think Maven is a great first and for many people only stop beyond the in-person providers you may have, but they've got a comprehensive program for this. And I will also mention Maven is free to FSBP members, and it's available in over 170 countries around the world. So this is one of the unique telehealth programs we have that's not something stateside and something overseas. It's global. And I want to encourage people to use that QR code. Great timing there, team. And go ahead and connect if you haven't already. This is one of our more popular programs. Hundreds of FSBP members have utilized not just Maven, but the menopause program already since we launched with Maven. Now, Sade, thank you for teeing it up that we do have some other programs that are available. So if you're looking for different support for mental health, you may want to explore, if you're in the U.S., a program like Able To, or ongoing mental health support through Teladoc Health, through counseling. If you're overseas, you may want to explore a partnership with Lyra Health that offers virtual counseling. And then also, when it comes to Sade, I appreciate you mentioned things like yoga, movement, and so forth. I believe both Maven, but also Hinge Health offer specific programs for pelvic health. And obviously that's not the only place where you may be experiencing menopause symptoms that are maybe affecting your body, but that there is a women's pelvic health program specifically from Hinge Health that is designed to help women at all ages, but particularly in menopause. And I know that Maven also has a similar program, to assist members. So we've got a lot out there. We also have, I believe, some new options that will be launching early next year. I don't want to preview those in case they're not quite ready in January, but Maven's a great first stop to get some support for mental health as well as some physical health options to help manage symptoms.
Absolutely. And Kylie did a great intro to what Maven does, especially with the menopause program. And if you want to learn more about specifically the menopause program, definitely check out our latest AFSPA Talks episode with Sade, where she kind of breaks down, what is the menopause program, what it offers, and also, how to get started. And we have the QR code up. And is there anything else you would like to add about the Maven menopause program, Sade?
I think Kyle really presented it perfectly. I guess the last thing that I will say is that, this program is really designed to fill in the gaps that we see in traditional healthcare. And so it really is a safe and trusted space to come to for coaching and guidance around all things menopause. AFSPA members also do have access to our other care management programs, but just given the menopause conversation today, really want to highlight if that is a life stage that you're in right now, would strongly encourage you to sign up and get some really great support from our wonderful provider team.
Absolutely. And I'll just say, I think like we've covered on today's show that, Sade has said menopause is natural. It's something that all women go through if they make it to that age. And it's something that, shouldn't be taboo or frowned upon. And it's something that you should be talking about with your friends, or if family members going through it. It is completely natural and normal to talk about something that you're going through, just as if you were going through a mental health struggle, or, if you had another diagnosis that was impacting your life, because like Sade said, you could be going through menopause and going through life changes. And I was thinking about when she was saying that it's kind of like going through puberty again, almost you're just back to being, 12, 13 in your body, and so many things are changing, and you're also trying to navigate school and things like that. So I can only imagine when I'll get there, and when all women do. So definitely use the Maven Clinic options, any other mental health options we have available with FSBP. And if you're wanting to learn more, definitely check out that AFSPA Talks episode. We know that a lot of our members have been asking for more topics, or I should say more content about menopause, and we hear you. And that's why we kind of made October Menopause Month. And we are so thankful for Sade to be here and join us and provide all this information. And I'm going to jump into some other topics, not just menopause, because as we've said from the beginning, open season is coming soon, and we want you guys to be aware of that. And we have our open season webpage available, afspa.org/open season. go there if you're looking for our new brochures, our overseas brochures, our new premiums, any new benefit changes. That's where that will all be. Definitely look out on our AFSPA Talks podcast for our open season episode. We will be talking about all the new changes, and we'll also be doing some specialty episodes about specific changes that we're making with the plan. So definitely look out for that. And then, of course, Kyle will be doing his open season webinars once open season starts up. So if you are looking to get into those, check those out on afspa.org/events. You can sign up for that. Kyle's doing something different this year. He'll be doing live presentation or a recorded presentation, and then we'll be going to live Q&A. And then some webinars will just be Kyle giving a shortened blurb about our changes, and then allowing questions to be asked by members, or potential members. So definitely check out those. They're labeled with which ones are a presentation and the Q&A, and then which ones are just the live Q&A. So definitely make sure you know which one you're signing up for. They're free. Obviously, they're on Zoom like they have been in the past.
And they're at all hours.
Yes, yeah.
So if I'm the only one there at the 5 a.m. sessions, I'm going to be really sad.
Yeah, it will be sad.
So please join me, especially if you're watching this as a recording and you're in Asia or Eastern Europe or something. Please join me at a time that works for you. We've got a lot of options.
Yes, we do. And if you weren't aware already, we are also doing extended service hours. So if you are in an overseas country, definitely check out our new hours and call between 7 a.m. Eastern time or 7 a.m. to 7 p.m. Eastern time, I should say, just so that if you have some questions and you don't want to call when it's 1 a.m. your time, you now have some options to not do that. So definitely look out for that. And I think I've hit on everything. Anything I've missed, guys?
Sade, anything you'd like to add?
No, I really just want to thank you all for letting us join today. It's so great talking with you and just talking about topics that are incredibly important. And again, like if members have questions after this conversation, feel free to reach out to us. I will connect with my provider team. But again, if there's any maybe personal questions that you have, would definitely recommend reaching out to our care team for that personalized support.
Absolutely. And go ahead, Kyle.
I'll just add, I want to say thank you to everybody who tuned in today and who's watching the recording. We welcome suggestions on topics for us to cover in future AFSPA Lives and focuses for our AFSPA Talks podcast. So we're doing our planning right now for 2026. So if there are topics you'd like us to cover, even if we've done it in the past, we're happy to do some again. Let us know. You can send us an email or reach out to us through our social media channels and just give us suggestions. We will absolutely take them into consideration as we're planning for next year.
Absolutely. And just a heads up, next month, AFSPA Live will be on Thursday, November 20th, because the following Thursday is Thanksgiving. So definitely tune in for that one. It's our big open season AFSPA Live. So come prepared with questions. Definitely be on the lookout for our event about this and the form to send in your questions if you want to get them answered, or you can send them in live and we will answer them that way as well. So I think that's everything. Thank you, Sade. Thank you, Kyle, as per usual. And happy October. Happy Halloween.
Happy Halloween.
Thanks for watching our broadcast. Join us again the last Thursday of every month at 11 a.m. Eastern. Also, don't forget to look for AFSPA Cares on all of our social media channels: YouTube, Instagram, Facebook,